And so we'll bring out our first speaker today, or second actually, because we already had him earlier. David, come on out. He's going to be talking to us about gamifying the blockchain space. Please make some noise for David,
hey,
folks.
NFT.NYC. Well, what an honor. Following Gary V. First time that's ever happened. Hey, awesome to see you guys. Thank you to Jody for having me here. This is awesome. My first time speaking here was 2 years ago, wherein there were more speakers than there were attendees. I think, I don't know, maybe like 7 or 8 of you were in the audience then. And an incredible thing has happened over the last 2 years where the community is so much bigger and so much better. So hats off to all of you guys for helping grow this incredible community. I'm going to talk about NFTs and gaming. And the reason I'm going to talk about that is one of the main promises of NFTs was that it could be the catalyst to bring many more people into crypto. Previous to NFTs, crypto kind of a tough to get concept. You got to be into trading crypto coins and wallets and all this stuff. But gaming is something that literally billions of people on the internet understand. So if our mission is be decentralized and get a lot of people into crypto, the way to do that is through gaming. And I'm here to tell you I think it's working. So first thing we've done is we've hit a tipping point. Go to Google right now and type in what is an NFT is the first question that everyone is asking. Now, that's all because of you guys, but amazing. And you know that you've hit a tipping point when SNL does a send-up of NFTs, right? You all saw this a few months back. You know you're tipping into the mainstream. And that's critical. Now, I still think NFTs are probably the worst named concept in technology we've ever come up with. Could you pick 3 letters that are harder to remember and phrases behind it that no one really understands? But still, it is what it is. But because of our mission is to get folks in, gaming is the tip of the spear, and NFTs have flipped. And so I'm one of the lucky ones. I've been close to this for a while. I sit on the board of Dapper Labs, the creators of the NFT standard, and the makers of not just the Flow blockchain, but Top Shot, and one of the most successful games on the blockchain. And while I think things are just getting started, I thought I would share with you some of the observations that we're making about what is working. It's easy to get caught up in the hype. There's so much going on. Prices are going up. NFTs everywhere. But as builders, as people whose job is to carry this flag for the next 10 or 20 years and build a completely new internet, build a completely new financial system, and completely take back intellectual property, you are all owners in this mission this time around, which, by the way, I think is what Gary missed entirely in his talk. What's different this time around is as the creators, you are owners in the future rather than patrons of someone else's platform. And so let's talk about what's working so you can take these lessons home and use them in your projects. Okay, more proof that we've tipped. When you take NFTs and you partner with a big brand like the NBA, the mainstream media starts looking at you. Now, that doesn't really help get more kids, because I don't know a lot of kids watching CBS, but certainly my parents heard about NFTs when things flipped into the mainstream. So let's take a look at some numbers. You're aware of how big NFTs are from a sales perspective, right? We've sold about, I think, a little more than $5 billion of NFT sales this year alone. It's unbelievable. But I don't think that's the important number on the slide. This slide is a combination of PFP type of NFTs, right? The digital art, the generative art, but also games. And so the numbers to look at are here. This is the number of owners of NFTs, and look that they dwarf by an order of magnitude the PFP projects. Now, some of you are saying, duh, that's by design. The PFP projects have 10,000, only 10,000 can own. Yes, at any one time, that's true. And if you sum them all together, we look into the future, 5 or 10 years from now, will there be billions and billions of PFP NFTs that people have bought and everyone's using them as their avatars in the metaverse or as a membership token into a social network? For sure. But what I feel confident in saying to you is the overwhelming majority, more than that, will be playing games based on NFTs. So let's look at what we've learned about what's working in NFT gaming. Well, the first is just some proof that it's not just activity on the blockchain that matters. These are just some from a couple weeks ago, some snapshots of number of people following Top Shot on Twitter, 260,000, and the Discord, which is more than this now, 500,000 people in a Discord. And you all know you can't learn anything about an NFT community without being in the Discord. But once again, for a game that just recently came out of beta, there's something like 1.4, 1.5 million people who are playing it already. Now, it's a small number compared with mainstream gaming, but it's much bigger than the people who are buying PFPs on Rarible or OpenSea. So my thesis to you, my presentation to you, is that games will drive higher and broader adoption than PFPs of crypto. So let's use what's working there. First thing that Dapper had to think through is how does one sell NFT collections? And there are a lot of different models. A bunch of different ones are working. But one that really works, particularly around digital collectibles, and let's pause for a moment on collectibles. If you think back to the beginning of human civilization, it turns out that 40 or 45% of humans at one point in their life collect things. Psychologists will tell you there's a bunch of reasons for that, 7 different reasons. Some of us like to bring order to the world by filling in the blanks. Some is for speculation. We think it'll be worth more later. Some is because it's a way to relate to people with similar passions or tastes. Whatever your reason for collecting, we collect as people, not just art and antiques and sneakers and wine, but now we want to collect digital things. And as all of you in this room know, it's because of the blockchain that we can now collect digital items. NFTs create scarcity, provable ownership, and provenance for digital items. And so now that we have them, how do we sell collectibles? Do we make 10,000 of them and put them all out at auction? Do we drip them out one at a time? Well, one thing that's worked really well for sports collectibles is the pack notion. Why do packs work? Well, in sports NFTs, a pack can lower the entry price for anyone to participate without making you feel like you're buying the worst possible collectible. Because in a pack, let's say we have a pack of 3, you could be guaranteed 2 common cards and 1 rare card. So the concept of luck and of low entry price is one way that packs have been successful. And so you can do packs in all different price points, and you can do packs in all different varieties, like how many rare cards are in or how many rare items. But the concept of marrying rare with common has been overwhelmingly successful. And you know this because for every pack drop, Dapper has something like 10x to 100x number of people in line to participate in the pack drop. And they've had to do things like allow only more active collectors into the lines. But I would encourage you to think about bundling to lower the average entry price for NFT gaming. You don't want to turn your game platform into an ecosystem that only the wealthy can afford to buy into. What else is working? Well, the marketplace. In the case where you know exactly what you want to buy, then you just go right to a marketplace, both primary marketplaces where things are originally being sold and secondary ones like Rarible and OpenSea, where you can pick the NFT you want, and they're sold at auction, and the number of different NFTs available, like this is number 17 of 200, is known to you. Even the lineage of the NFT's ownership is known to you. So the marketplace is working well. However, prices are pretty dynamic in these marketplaces. As you know, per collection, we've seen marketplaces, prices swing high and low. And as an owner or as a creator of these NFT ecosystems, one of your jobs is to decide, do you want super wild swings in your collection's average price? Or do you want things to be a little bit more rational, or at least less dynamic, and instead focus on things like retention? One of the things that drives Top Shot's economy decisions, like how do you price and how rare to make things, is the belief that long-term player retention is more important than total market cap of the entire ecosystem. Now, that doesn't make for good headlines. People love to talk about how much the entire Bored Ape Yacht Club collection is worth. But in my opinion, that's not, as a builder, what you want to focus on. What else is working? Well, this is where NFTs get super interesting and why I believe that gaming NFTs are just getting started. The idea of making a digital collectible just a JPEG with verifiable ownership kind of misses the point, because these are software. They're not physical goods in the real world that can't change later. Software can change any time. So what we have with collectibles that can be used in games is you buy it to own it and trade it if you want, but you then bring it into a world or to a game to play it. What kind of games will work around sports? Well, certainly fantasy games will work, and we'll see DraftKings and FanDuel and all those guys enter. And certainly head-to-head contest games, and we'll see Activision and Ubisoft and all those folks show up and participate too. But using a collectible in a game is step one, but what happens if the NFT improves or changes over time based on your usage? And that's one of the things we're seeing with Axie Infinity, is that the Axie NFTs that you buy to play in games improve your score as your gameplay increases, and of course, you can be rewarded from that with yield. So this is critical that NFTs can evolve over time. It makes them more fun, and I think it goes to our point about retention. So the couple different models of buying an NFT and using it in a game, an NFT that improves or changes over time, and the Axie model of play to earn, I think have all tipped. And I'm confident we'll see literally tens of thousands of blockchain games based on these three different concepts. You guys are probably all building for them today. Last point, which I think is really fun one to think about. When you're waiting in line for a drop, what do? Well, one of the awesome things that Dapper figured out, kind of by accident, was you've got people, when you have 100,000 people in line for a 10,000 pack drop, or 300,000 or 400,000 people in line for a 100,000 pack drop, they have to wait in line. Sure, you can text them when it's ready or send them an email, but that's not fun. So sort of on a whim, they said, well, let's get a live stream up on Twitch and we'll talk about Top Shot. Well, maybe we should invite some NBA players to show up. Well, by the second drop show, as it's now called, we became top 5 on Twitch just for having a drop show. Well, that's fantastic, but what is it getting at? It's getting at that the key message that also I think Gary missed a little bit in his talk this morning is that NFTs represent our token in a community. And what we as humans like to do, one of the reasons we collect, is to connect with other people in the community. And the drop show is a reflection of the fact that we buy tokens to be members in communities, to connect with other like-minded people, and then to talk about it, see it happen. So I leave you with those thoughts. I hope you have the most incredible week ever at NFT.NYC. Please keep building, and I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you.